Hey guys, this video will also be pretty short, but this is basically me talking about automations. What exactly is automation? Automations are something that you want automated, like opening a door when you get home and turns on all the lights of the house. Or maybe when you go to bed, you want all the lights to be off at a certain time. You can make an automation for that. So instead of having to go to the dashboard, trigger every single light off, at night, you can have an automation that turns off all the lights for you. So automations come in three parts. So the first part is a trigger. Trigger is what exactly triggers the automation. So in the sense of maybe a door sensor is closed, you can trigger all the lights to be off. The second one is conditions. You don't always have to have a condition on your automation, but these conditions have to be true in order for automation to run. So for instance, if you want automation to run after 10 p.m., you can have a condition that says, as long as it's after 10 p.m., run this automation. We'll also be going through that in this video. The last one is the action. The action is obviously what actually happens when the automation is run. So if you want to turn off all the lights when the door is shut, you can have the lights be the action from on to off. So that's a very simplified way of explaining automations. People who own smart homes and who have been working with Home Assistant for a long time, they revolve their whole world around automations. It's very powerful, extremely useful for setting up your smart home. So let's get into it. Hello guys, so now we're gonna kind of dive a little bit into automations. Automations is basically what makes a smart home smart. For instance, if you want automation to trigger the lights to come on when you open the front door or when you open the garage door and close it at a certain time, you can make an automation for that. But for now, we're just gonna use Home Assistant's native automation creator to create a very simple automation. So if you go to configuration and automations and scenes, you can see that our automations, we don't have any automations. But we can add automation. We can select from a blueprint. Blueprints are created by the community to kind of ease creating the automations. But for now, let's just create an empty automation from scratch. So this automation will be named Good Night, because automation is basically going to be once the door sensor is closed, we want to turn on the fan. Very simple. So the trigger is basically what calls automation. So like I said, we want the door sensor to be closed, and that's what's going to be triggering the automation. And so a trigger type is a device, right? So our device is going to be the bedroom door sensor. And a trigger is going to be closed, basically. So once it's closed, then we want to run it. So our conditions is basically, we won't have any conditions in this, but in a very simplified way, it's if the conditions all have to match. So if you want the automation to run at a certain time, like after 8 p.m., you can make a condition to be as long as it's after 8 p.m., we can run this automation. But for now, let's just skip it. In actions, that's where the match is going to happen. So what do you want to do once the door is closed? Okay, well, we want to turn on the fan. So we just do bedroom fan and then turn on bedroom fan. And so we can set save and it should be created. So if we go up and try it, and it was created. But as you can see, the fan was still on. So we need to make a automation to turn off the fan once you open the door. So like before, we can just add automation, start with an empty one, and we can do good morning. The trigger will be the same thing. So our trigger will be the bedroom door sensor. The device will be opened. And we can also specify multiple triggers. I forgot to mention that, but multiple triggers can have 50 different devices be online if you want to have something kind of start. Conditions, again, we don't need that. Actions, we want the bedroom fan to be, or the bedroom fan to be off. Sweet. So save that and let's see what happens. Sweet. And so that's a very, 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 very simple automation, but it makes life a lot easier. That way you don't have to go into your dashboard and be like, okay, I want the bedroom fan to be on or off. So now that we have these very simple automations, let's add a condition to them. So like I said before, the conditions they all have to be true before an automation can run. So in the case of good night, when we go to bed, we can add a condition. And you can see this drop down has all these conditions, right? So time, you can have a sun, you can have a zone or a trigger or a device. In our case, we want a time. So we want the time to be after, let's say we go to bed at 10. So after 10 o'clock p.m., we can have this automation run and save. In our case of good morning, we can do the exact same thing after 6 a.m. because who wakes up before 6 a.m.? Save. And so if we try to run an automation right now, it shouldn't run because those obviously aren't true. They don't work, which is great. So that's a very simple way of doing the automations. Like I said before, automations can be very, very complex. And the deeper you go, the more likely you have to be able to configure the .yaml files, which hopefully I'll have a video up here soon for it. But thank you guys for listening.